The payments in blockchain are crazy for good developers. If you have 3 to 5 years of experience in blockchain right now, your opening salary is north of $500,000 a year.
From Acapulco, Mexico, this is Anarchast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Anarchast, home for anarchy on the internet. I've got a great returning guest coming on. He's been on a few times, I think. It's Jason King. He's doing, again, his blockchain across America, which is running across all of the U.S., all the way from Florida to, I believe, California. He's actually, he's quite a ways now. He's actually coming in from Tucson, Arizona, so he's more than halfway and hoping to finish off in the next 3 weeks or so. And if you don't know about it, it's really great. We're going to talk a little bit about it. And he's done so many charity things, and we've been talking a little bit about charity and stuff here, and he's sort of like one of the top people I know who's definitely been doing a lot of charity stuff. He's been doing the Sean's Outpost, feeding a lot of people, a lot of homeless people and things like that. And he's also now the CEO of Gravity.net, which is a new cybersecurity company, so we're going to talk about that as well. So Jason, how's it been going?
Oh man, it's been going great, Jeff. Thanks for having me back on the show. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And you're going to be probably speaking at Cryptopulco at Anarchapulco as well, so looking forward to that.
I had to miss it this year, and I regretted it so much. So I'm 100% in for 2020.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great this year, and I think next year's going to be even better. So it'll be a great time. So let's talk about the run again. So the last time, I think you've done this once before, and I think I was there at the beginning of it. It was at a Bitcoin conference in Miami.
Yeah.
When was that? Like 2013 or something?
2014. Yeah, I did Bitcoin across America in 2014, where I ran from Miami, Florida. Started at the first North American Bitcoin conference in Miami, so the very first BTC Miami, and ran to San Francisco, California, raising awareness for Bitcoin at the time, and for my charity Sean's Outpost, raising money to help feed homeless people with cryptocurrency. And then,
that's great. And
yeah, this time it's called Blockchain Across America because the space is so much bigger than Bitcoin now. And I started in Miami again, and I'm running to Santa Monica because I'm 40 now, and I don't need to run that extra 600 miles up the coast to San Francisco to call it a win. So.
Yeah, I would totally take off 600 miles if I could as well. I don't know actually how you even do this. Like maybe even just explain how, like, is it tough for you? Like running across an entire continent? Yeah, I have an interesting story. I was just at Anarchadelphia, and they had a half marathon going on right outside of my hotel. So I woke up a little hungover from Anarchadelphia, obviously, and I'm watching these marathon runners. I'm like, man, I'm like not in that good a shape to do even a marathon or even a half marathon. And I was watching the slow people at the start, and it actually looped around. And I'm watching them. I'm like, man, there's like fat people. They're like, they can run further than me. And then I saw the leaders of the marathon. It was like they were sprinting. It was like a half marathon. Like I don't know if I could keep up with them for one block, and they do that for like 11 miles. So are you like a runner, or I guess you are now, but like, is this like natural for you?
I'm an endurance guy. I'm not fast by any stretch of the imagination, but if it's a last man standing sort of situation, I'm going to be there at the end. So, the great thing about what I'm doing, nothing about it is easy, but it's not a race. I'm not trying to get there by any specific time. I'm not trying to beat anybody's record or anything like that. I'm just trying to put one foot in front of the other and cross the North American continent. But yeah, man, it's I kind of had two resets. I hurt a hamstring about a week and a half into the run, and it sidelined me for like a month. So I didn't really get into the groove of things with the run then, and so I had to kind of rebuild up all my stamina and all of that. So yeah, it's definitely been challenging, but I'm doing it, and yeah, I got about 3 weeks left. I think I'll probably get into Santa Monica around the 19th of October.
So what's like an average day for you? Like how far do you run on average per day?
So on the days I run, I've been averaging about 32 miles a day.
Holy cow.
I try to break it up. So usually I'll get up before dawn when it's still dark out, and I'll try to put 10 or 15 miles under my belt before the sun's even up. Because once you hit West Texas until you get to California, you're just in a desert. So if you're trying to run midday, it's not an enjoyable thing. So I try to do that, and then I'll just chill out. I'll do some work, answer emails, do phone conversations or whatever, and then I do the other half of it at night. or like when it starts cooling off in the afternoon.
Wow, so you're basically running a marathon in the morning and a marathon at night every
Yeah,
single
half
day.
marathon in the morning. Yeah, a little bit more than a half marathon twice a day is what I average. But sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes I just get a bug up my ass and I just do 40 miles in a day and just one chunk it, listen to about 3 audiobooks and just run it out.
Wow. So what's it like as far as like, don't you get like I would just assume this would be like incredibly difficult on your body, even just to keep up enough calories and stuff like that, just to keep going what are you kind of eating on this?
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. So that's something I'm a lot better at this time than last time, which is that, my caloric needs are about 10,000 calories a day, which is physically difficult to eat. It's not like you can sit down and just like scarf down 6 cheeseburgers and then go keep running. So I'm doing an adapted ketogenic diet. I eat a lot of fat, I eat a lot of ghee, I eat a lot of grass-fed butter, a lot of just like organic pork fat. And then I just try to stay healthy. Lots of fruits and vegetables. Not as many fruits. Some fruits to keep the glycogen up. But it's been good. The super hack, and if anybody wants to do something crazy like run a long distance, what I've found that's made my body immensely better is I've started using resistance bands for keeping my muscle up, which I atrophied so much muscle when I did this last time. I've got a system called the X3, and I'm not selling it or anything, but it's Dr. Jonah Jankwish it's basically like a small Olympic bar and these really dope resistance bands, and it all fits in like a violin case. But the strongest band's max resistance is 344 pounds. So you could really still keep your muscles going, and it's just a full body workout. I do it 4 or 5 times a week. And it's really kept my joints in shape. It's really kept my muscle there. So it's not, and it just kind of helps rebuild everything and keep everything, centered, as opposed to me just like anabolically destroying every muscle I have by running all the time.
Yeah, you see sometimes these long distance, even longer than marathon runners, and they look just, I don't want to look like them. They look like they're from like Ethiopia. Some of them are from Ethiopia, but they look like they're from like a famine in Ethiopia or something.
No, it's crazy.
So that's...
Yeah, I've only been doing resistance bands for like the last 3 months, and I've actually put 50 pounds on my bench press over the last 3 months just doing resistance bands. So it works. It's definitely works. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you dropped, 30 or 40 pounds so far?
Yeah, I'm down about 32, I think. I'll probably take another 8 to 10 off in the next 3 weeks. So.
Do you know what your body fat is, just out of curiosity?
I haven't, but so I did like a full VO2 max DEXA scan before I left. And so I'm going to get another one done at the finish line. And then it'll be interesting to sort of compare what my body's composition is and stuff. I know my VO2 max is way up from what it was. I can definitely process oxygen a lot better now.
That's cool. So I know you said the first one that you did, which was called Bitcoin Across America, you were raising money for Sean's Outpost. Is that the same with this one as well?
Yeah. So Sean's Outpost in 2013, we used Bitcoin to get a mortgage on 9 acres of property in Pensacola, Florida. We named it Satoshi Forest. So it's kind of like, we think of Sean's Outpost as kind of like a incubator for cool humanitarian ideas in the Bitcoin space, blockchain space. And so Satoshi Forest is really the first project. And so it's been up and running since 2013. It's the only registered commercial campground in Florida that's specifically for the homeless. We had to, go through like 8 rounds of litigation with a county who vehemently did not want us to help poor people. And we successfully came out of that. And so we now, the state of Florida actually demanded that they give us the building permit that we requested 5 years ago. And so we actually now have that ability. And so we're actually looking to grow now. We're looking to build out a bathhouse and build out a commercial kitchen out there and just sort of build some of the infrastructure that we've wanted to build for the last years, but bureaucracy and government just got in the way of it. And we're just trying, private people with private property, trying to help people that aren't doing so great. And so Satoshi Forest is what I'm raising money for this time.
Cool. And we just recently had on Logan Davies of Voluntarism in Action, which is a bunch of voluntarists / anarchists that decided to show the world that we can help raise money for charity. We don't need the government to do it. And he's very similar to you. He had a lot of problems with government. It's so funny, right? A lot of people think us anarchists are crazy. We're bomb throwers. And then on top of that, they go, well, if we didn't have government, who would take care of the homeless? It's like you guys had to go through litigation for months or years just to feed some homeless people.
Years, man.
So the government's actually getting in the way of us trying to help.
Well, you know how it is, Jeff. It's just that like government, they need a villain. They need someone to be able to point to and be like, hey, you better listen to us. You're going to end up like that. And the U.S. government obviously has a bunch of those, but the poor and the homeless and the impoverished are definitely some of them. Like, hey, pay your slave taxes and get everything done that we tell you to do, or you're going to end up on the street like these bums. And it's just dehumanizing. And I wish it wasn't as effective a form of mind control as it is, because most people really believe that the government's out there every day trying to make lives better for the poor, trying to make lives better for the homeless, that that people are getting fed, that there's this safety net, all of this stuff, and it's just doesn't exist. When help actually comes in, it comes in from a voluntary means of human beings helping out other human beings that needed help. And I know you've done stuff in Mexico, like when they had storm damage and stuff. I know that you have helped, and I've been fortunate enough to participate in like a blockchain group that's helping out the Bahamas, and just way more efficient than anything the government can do, because there's nothing the government does that the private sector doesn't do better, and that includes charity. We're way better at it. In the first year that Sean's Outpost was in operation, we fed 92,000 meals to the homeless with $125,000. And the second largest group in Florida, in our part of Florida, Northwest Florida, fed 56,000, so almost half the meals, and they fed it with $1.4 million. So we fed like almost twice the food with 1/10 of the cost, because the only thing we were optimizing for was feeding homeless people. We weren't optimizing for like grants or making government people happy or not stepping on people's toes. We were just trying to, there was people that needed food. We were trying to get them food. That was the end of it. We didn't make it a political thing. And when you do that, when it's just people who are just working because they want to work and helping because they want to help, it's just a much better process. And, the government, they just get in the way of everything, basically.
Yeah, they're basically the opposite of what a lot of people think they are.
Yeah, for sure.
And when it comes to it's so funny too as anarchists, right? Like when we talk to people, they're like, but without the government, like who would help out like the poor and like homeless people? It's like, well, who's helping them now?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like anyone's helping them now.
Yeah.
We're trying, but it's actually illegal in a lot of ways.
For sure.
Crazy. Yeah. So how's it been going this time? I wanted to have you on a few months ago. And
April.
I don't know if you want to mention this or not. I think you had some problems with your family or something.
Yeah, I just it's been rough. I got hurt right off the bat. And then my wife and I decided that we were gonna divorce. A couple of weeks into my run, and so that was mentally
quite the start to your run.
Yeah, it was great. So I had a torn hamstring and got divorced. So it's funny. It's the same thing as last time. Is that the physical's hard, but just sort of the isolation, the mental's hard, and I got a dose of the mental sucking right off the bat. It was difficult, but it's and I had hoped I was going to be done in August and like all of this stuff, but it's at the end of the day, it's just completing the task. It's just setting your mind to something that seems not fathomable to a lot of people, and just grinding it out. And so, I'm in the home stretch now. I've got a little less than 500 miles left out of a almost 3,000 mile journey. I can do this one backwards probably.
Yeah, so I think I wanted to have you on a few months ago because I wanted people to know about this, and then I think for whatever reason we just didn't do it. And then I saw you were posting, and a guy said, "Hey, when are you going to run across the U.S. again?" I'm like, "He's doing it." I'm like, I need to have him on my show so people know, because I know a lot of people weren't even aware of it. So I want to make sure that everyone knows. And how's it been going? Have you been raising a decent amount of money, and definitely let people know how they can help donate and things like that?
Yeah, so we got a decent amount up front. I think we're probably sitting around $20,000 in donations right now. But when I got hurt and then when I was off for a while and mental issues, personally, I wasn't really ringing the bell on it because there was a while there where I wasn't sure I was going to be able to finish, and I didn't want to get a bunch of people to donate. I mean, obviously it's a great cause, but I said I would cross the country. I wanted to actually cross the country, but now that I'm confident that I'm going to get there by the end of October, I've been banging the gong a lot harder on it. And I think that we've got some nice donations that are coming in. A lot of people are going to come in to support. It's a great cause, and it's the first crypto charity. It's a lot of people don't realize this, and we didn't do it on purpose. But in 2013, when we started Sean's Outpost, most people's connotation of Bitcoin was that it was only used by criminals, it was only used on the dark net, it was this nefarious thing that was only used by bad people. And this byproduct of starting Sean's Outpost was that immediately people got this other thing to use as a retort when someone said, hey, Bitcoin's just used for drug dealing and dark nets. They're like, well, actually, there's people feeding homeless people in Florida with it. Here, let me show you the website. And it just became this great sort of immediate callback when someone had that stupid narrative about how Bitcoin was only used for crime, to kind of throw it in their face. And it wasn't anything that we thought of at the beginning. It just was this nice, it was just this happy coincidence. And yeah, I think, Sean's Outpost started first part of 2013, still going strong in 2019. I mean, how many crypto companies do you know from 2013 that are still kicking around? I mean, there's not a lot of us, and we're definitely the only charity that's got that same track record. So it's a good organization to support. I'm still on the board. We have a wonderful executive director, Michael Kimbrell. He's been instrumental in really being boots on the ground there and taking care of everybody. And I'd love to be able to get a nice chunk of change over there to do some private good for some people. I think that sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, why don't you let us know where people can find out more about it, maybe follow you, and also look about donating to the cause? Sure.
Blockchainacrossamerica.com. And we have a coin payments page up on there, so I think you can donate in 240 different cryptos, and then they just automatically convert it to Bitcoin and send it to us. So it's really great, really easy to do. I mean, we will take fiat. Prefer to not take fiat, but when it's people getting fed, I will look the other way. But I might give you a side eye on your choice to use a credit card or PayPal. But great.
Yeah, you're gonna be looked down a little bit if
a little bit, little down the nose. But
it's like okay, we'll take it. There's hungry people over here, but come on, man.
This stuff is dirty. Do you know that people buy drugs with this?
Yeah. Don't you know this is a big financier of terrorism?
Yeah, the biggest.
Financing the U.S. government. Cool. And I also want to get into, and we'll have those links down below. And please, everyone out there, $5, $10, $20, it all helps. If 1,000 people watch this, 5,000 people watch, they'll give $10. That's $50,000. That's the power, great. I think, that a lot of people don't fully realize of the people. And it could be so small. It could be $10. And like most of you watching this, you wouldn't notice if there was $10 missing from your bank account or your crypto account or your pocket even. I wouldn't. It's just lying around. Like, I have more than $10. So just think about that and get involved in these sort of things. And that's how it can really make a difference. And that's what the government doesn't want people to know. You think about it, like, we used to get 20, 30,000 views on these videos. Now it's more like 5 or 10,000 because of the shadow banning. But let's just say it's 10,000. Everyone donates $10. That's $100,000.
Yeah,
and that's a huge change.
That's a new bathhouse. That's a new kitchen. That's laundry and showers for homeless people that in perpetuity. It's a much better use of your money than anything a tax dollar has ever been used for.
Yeah, and maybe some of these homeless people, they go, "Wow, I was in dire straits. I needed a shower, I needed some food, and the government didn't help me. And these anarchists helped me with cryptocurrencies. And as they get back on their feet, they're going to tell their friends. It all spreads that sort of way. So we'll have the links to all that down below. And I also want to just ask you, because I don't even know, you just mentioned it to me, that you're the CEO of Gravity.net now, a cybersecurity type company. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So I've been in cybersecurity most of my life. I actually learned about computers getting in trouble hacking as a child, and had the FBI come to my house when I was 15 for selling illegal phone equipment that would allow you to make long distance calls and strip the headers off of your caller ID and stuff like that.
Like blue boxes and stuff like that?
Yeah, and generation beyond that, sort of right before the digital swap over, when all of the trunks went from analog to digital, there was some fun stuff that you could do if you knew the right things for the old analog telephone system, and I had a lot of fun. It was a good time. It was a very curious time in my life, and it cemented a lot of my curiosity about just figuring out how things work and how I can change things, and But I kind of got out of it, and I got more in the computer networking side. But I always kept an ear to the grindstone, and one of my best friends, Bryce Case Jr., better known to the community as YT Cracker, sings the song Bitcoin Baron. He's a legendary computer hacker, and through Bryce, I've had the fortune of meeting a lot of really great cybersecurity professionals, and I started working with a guy named Nathaniel Wakelam, or to his friends, he's Naffy, and he's one of the best hackers on earth, and if you just Google Nathaniel Wakelam and Gravity, you'll get 15 articles from Fortune and Inc. and Business Insider all talking about how this crazy Australian hacker is just destroying all of these Fortune 500 companies' security for good. So what we had done is we basically have a white glove cybersecurity company that we'll do security audits for you, and we'll find vulnerabilities that you have. We'll get them patched up so that we find them before someone nefarious finds them. Because a lot of people don't realize that this legislation that's out there around privacy protection, it's abysmal. It's catastrophic from a business standpoint. GDPR, which is the global data protection rights, which is coming out of Europe. And then California just passed the CPAA. What they both have to do is with a company's liability when they're holding customer information, and the fines for violations of these, they're absurd. The average GDPR violation is a $7 million fine. A lot of companies are getting hit for north of $100 million just because they're failing to basically keep their customers' data secure. And in GDPR cases, for the first time, they're actually piercing the corporate veil and actually holding executives criminally responsible for not handling their data correctly. So it's funny, as someone who's been in the cybersecurity industry for so long, having conversations with people to take security seriously has been a kind of an uphill battle. But as soon as the C-suite starts going to prison for not handling customer information reliably, they start listening to you. So yeah, we've been very fortunate. We've got a lot of Fortune 500 companies, a lot of household names that we do security for. We do auditing and monitoring. We work with some of the best DDoS mitigation companies, and we're just kind of a one-stop shop for world-class cybersecurity. We actually have a blockchain. We have a token, the Path token. We built a network analytics engine that actually we run at any given time. There's between 11 and 12,000 of our nodes running, and what that allows is if someone's getting an attack or someone needs to see their network traffic in a very granular method, we can actually turn all of those nodes on to look at the assets that are being attacked, and we get this sort of upstream look from the last mile up to the attack from thousands of different nodes around the world. So we're able to actually see how that attack is unfolding in a much more granular method than really anything before. So a lot of companies use our analytics to help mitigate attacks and things like that. And all the people running our nodes, they get paid in our token, and that token can be used for our cybersecurity services. It can be used to run analytics testing. It can be used for DDoS mitigation, things like that. We're building a really dope VPN that's going to take the token. A lot of really cool stuff going on. And it's really a great company. It's a lot of fun. And it's something I've been doing since a kid. I just kind of jumped back in with it with both feet about a year ago.
Very cool. And it's kind of funny, isn't it, that, in a free market, if I was dealing with a company and they had some private data and they got hacked and lost it, I'd be upset. I'd be like, oh, you guys, and I might even go, I'm not going to work with you guys anymore. Yeah. You're not very good. You don't even know how to secure your information. I'm going to switch over to a different one. But when the government's involved, it's like, hey, you just lost a bunch of people's data. And they're like, yeah. They're like, you now owe us $7 million. And then they just take it and pay for their salaries and their vacations and everything, right?
Oh,
and on top of that, as you said, now they're like, and we're going to kidnap you and put you in a cage and make the people who you lost their data, I'll pay for it so you can stay in a cage for like 5 years. So just like always, the government solution is ridiculous and horrible and immoral and just wrong.
Yeah.
And you're an anarchist and you're trying to help people to protect their data in the right way by saying, hey, this is a risk and we can help you with something. It's as usual, the market provides, the government just destroys.
Well, it's I think the largest, and I might be a little off on these numbers, but I think the largest fine to date has been against Verizon. They had a couple 100 million customer breach a couple of years ago, and their fine came out earlier this year, and I think they got fined $536 million, and none of that money went to help anybody that was affected by it. Literally, it was just it just went into government coffers. They're like, dude, this is great. We can hit Verizon up for $500 million. But what's crazy is that under the provisions of the new California Act, the CPAA, their matrix in terms of how they define these fines. It's like $2,500 like per violation, so that would be like per customer record. So as crazy as the $500 million fine is, under the CPAA, that would be like a $21 billion fine. So it's absurd. I mean, it's just like it's crazy. It's company ending. It's like it's insane level of stuff. So we're just trying to tell everybody, say, hey, look, the government. We all know they're out there. They want. Any excuse you can give them to let them take your money, they're going to do it. Let us, give your infrastructure a once over, tell you if there's any glaring issues, because, I mean, you probably would rather pay, 0.5% of your gross revenue to us to secure you than to pay, 10 times gross revenue to the government. It's good. And we like what we're doing. We have some great customers, great clients, it's good. We're making money helping people stay secure, which is, it's a good business to be in.
Yeah, and it's more important than ever with cryptos, as you know, for everyone just to be a bit more aware of security for themselves, because obviously it's quite easy to lose your crypto if you're not being a little bit careful. And it's kind of funny too how they'll charge Verizon like $500 or $500 million. It's not like Verizon really pays that. Who ends up paying it? Their customers.
Their customers, right? Exactly.
So all the customers who just lost their data, which I don't know if that's a big deal or not. I don't really worry about my private data that much, but I don't think it's worth $2,500 per person if someone loses it. But they lose their private data, and then they end up paying higher costs, and the government just makes a bunch of money and spends it on bombs to kill people.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Yeah, it's a shit show. It's just a joke.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm sure you must need a nap or must be wanting to get back on the road soon, doing your 30 plus miles a day. So I don't want to keep you too long. Is there anything else that we didn't discuss you want to let people know? And if not, just maybe mention the website again for people to donate.
Sure. So my company's gravity.net. So if you have any security needs, hit us up. I'm Jason at gravity.net. Happy to talk about cybersecurity all day long. The run is blockchainacrossamerica.com. And so you can donate there, find out more about the run, find out more about me. And kingslanduniversity.com. So we're the only fully accredited school for blockchain development. If you're interested in learning blockchain, we have full programs for existing developers, but we also have a new program called Zero to Blockchain that can actually take you from not knowing anything about software development or programming, and take you from whatever your job is now, teach you software development, and then teach you blockchain development. So you can go from zero to blockchain, and it's a very lucrative, very in-demand career. Right now, there's about 25 available jobs for every qualified blockchain developer on the planet.
Wow.
And average salaries are about $163,000 that's for junior developers. So it is a very lucrative field. So if you're interested in learning how to develop on blockchain, kingslanduniversity.com would be happy to help you.
Wow, yeah, I wasn't aware you were doing that. Otherwise, I would have probably brought it up earlier, because I always love bringing up things that can really help people on this show. And as you just pointed out, and as I knew, I wasn't aware of those exact numbers, but I know there's way less blockchain developers than are needed, and most people will pay quite a bit for it. So for anyone out there, I hear it a lot. It's like, I don't know how to make money, that kind of stuff. If you have any sort of interest, or if you're sort of a computer guy already, like myself, or even not, I don't know what level you have to start at, but there's one definite area to look at. This is something I've been mentioning for a while. Like, just get involved in one way in the blockchain business or another. It's got a lot of potential.
Well, it's super funny that it slipped my mind too. But one thing that we do at Kingsland that's really interesting is that if you take our program, you can actually take it under what's called an income sharing agreement, which means we'll let you take the whole course for free. We'll guarantee that you get a job after the course, and we only get paid for our tuition as a percentage of the income that you get for a job that we get you. And if you don't get a job, then you don't have to pay for anything. So it's really good. We're totally willing to put our money where our mouth is in terms of how good our training is. And the blockchain industry, man, all of these great projects, they all need developers, all of them. And that's just in the industry. All of these legacy companies, Walmart has mandated that every one of their agricultural suppliers be on Walmart's supply blockchain this year. It's actually, the deadline's already over. So like, if you didn't get on Walmart's blockchain, you're not selling to Walmart anymore. Which is massive, and Walmart doesn't have a gang a network of blockchain engineers. They need them too, and all these legacy companies that are trying to keep up. The demand is just going to get higher, and scarcity of resources. There's not a lot of you guys out there, and companies need you bad. The way to get you is to pay you a lot of money. So it's a very lucrative career to be in. It's a really great advantage to have to staying relevant in the marketplace, is to be competent in blockchain development. And to date, Kingsland University School of Blockchain, we're still the only U.S. accredited school for blockchain development, fully U.S. accredited program. Whatever you think about accreditation, a lot of organizations require it. So being accredited means that a lot of times if you take our classes, your employer might have some sort of tuition reimbursement or something like that. Because we're accredited, that a lot of times allows people to take advantage of those programs too. Just out here hustling, trying to get more people into blockchain, and people realize how powerful this technology really is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. So many people, millions and millions of people in the U.S. will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars going to get their Bachelor of Arts degree or their doctorate in feminine studies. They all get out of school and they're like, "It's weird. No one will hire me." It's like, you don't know anything.
Yeah,
you've wasted 16 years of your life on nothing, and they pay a ton of money for it. And then you're sitting there going, "We have guaranteed jobs if you're anything but a complete moron, and you don't even have to pay for the class." Like, talk about night and day and what people really should be doing as opposed to what they are doing, most people.
Yeah, and it's absurd. Like the payments in blockchain are crazy for good developers. If you have 3 to 5 years of experience in blockchain right now, your opening salary is north of $500,000 a year. And it goes way up from there.
I might quit my job and become a programmer.
I know several developers that are making north of $1 million a year just building on blockchain. Because if your company's making billions of dollars, you're cool spending millions of dollars on the development to make sure that your product stays relevant and usable, and that your customers are having a good experience. So it's a huge opportunity for people, and we'd love to help you take advantage of it if you want to get into blockchain.
Yeah, I remember when I started my internet company in the 90s, it was around 1994, 95, and by the time we were getting quite big, around 1998, 99, we were going to go public, and we were becoming this $100 million company and all this stuff. Just to hire your basic web developer, we're talking HTML, was $70,000 to $100,000. People are coming in like, I won't work for you less than $150,000, $200,000. I'm like, HTML takes like 2 days to learn. like I still remember how to do it. It's pretty basic, especially back then. But it just goes to show, and those are the opportunities in the market when something new like blockchain comes out and it starts to catch on, and all these companies decide they want to get into it. There's not a lot of people who know how to do it. So definitely get into that. We'll have the links to all that stuff down below. And do you want to finish off with anything, Jason? That was a great thing to finish off with. You might have just got some people into $1 million jobs there.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me add the Kingston thing on the end. But yeah, I think that's about it. I really appreciate you having me on my show. I can't wait to get down to Acapulco and hang out with you. Go to Anarchapulco. It's a fantastic, in your day-to-day life, a lot of times you feel like maybe you're the only one, or you're only one of a handful of people that have these not mainstream views. And just going down and being around thousands of other like-minded people, it's just really refreshing, and it's a great event. So yeah, I'll definitely be there.
Awesome, yeah, and we just announced the first speakers for Anarchapulco, include people like Doug Casey, Rick Ross, John McAfee, all kinds of people. Check that out. We haven't announced any of the Cryptopulco speakers yet, but we have so many big names for Cryptopulco. We're going to announce those in the next probably a few days, or maybe next week or so. Cool. So check it out. It's February 13th to 16th, 2020 in Anarchapulco, and I'll let Jason get back on the road and keep raising money for homeless people. Don't forget to donate $10, $20, $50, $100 if you got it. But even small amounts, $5, $10 can make a big difference, and that's really how we change the world, and that's the way we need to do it. And we need to put our money where our mouth is, and as Jason's doing, and he's putting his feet where his mouth is, and running across America again. So definitely give him some support and follow him on what he's doing. And I'll leave it there. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and that's it for Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.
Anarchapulco, it's so hype, I'm trying to tell ya. This the event of the year and best vacation ever. Ron Potter, Jeffrey Tucker, just to name a few. Get your tickets, you don't want to miss it. You should roll through, talking politics to health and self-improvement to investing. So many things, not one thing. Learn how to live life unchained, yeah. 4 days vibing on the beach, time to connect. All about growth, way more than a conference. This is Anarchapulco, yeah. Let's go.
You ain't seen nothing yet.